It's on this note that we decided to give you an update of all that has transpired in the last 24 hours since polling closed. And this will be done by the Honorable Chairman himself. Yesterday the briefings were done by the National Commissioner, but now to underscore the importance to take this assignment, the Chief Electoral Commissioner of the Federal Republic of Nigeria himself is here to give you an update. So, at this juncture, I will respectfully call on him, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to brief the nation on what is happening in the last 24 hours. Honorable Chairman.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, millions of Nigerians trooped to the polling units to elect a president and members of the National Assembly. Voting took place nationwide. The Commission is happy with the general peaceful and patriotic conduct of citizens. Elections are all about the people. And once again, Nigerians have demonstrated extraordinary resilience and abiding faith in democracy and the electoral process. We wish to reiterate our commitment to protecting the sanctity of the ballot and the integrity of the choices made by Nigerians at the polls. Last night, the Commission met and reviewed the processes and challenges arising from the conduct of the elections based on reports received from our state offices nationwide, as well as information harvested from our various citizens' contact platforms. The Commission acknowledges that there were places where personnel and materials did not arrive on time, resulting in delays in opening of polls. We responded by extending the voting period to compensate for the loss of time. Our reports indicate that many citizens who would have otherwise been disenfranchised had the opportunity to vote. Similarly, in spite of our best effort to enhance the functionality of the smart card readers, we experienced technical glitches in some locations. Through the deployment of 8,809 area registration area technical support, or RATEX, that we engaged as ad hoc staff, many of these glitches were successfully rectified, which enabled voting to take place seamlessly in some of the affected polling units. Yet, there were places where voting could not proceed as a result of the failure of the smart card readers. In addition, there are places where materials arrive late for voting to proceed. After consultation with the communities involved, and in line with our regulations and guidelines, new smart card readers have been reconfigured and deployed for elections in the affected polling units. Right now, elections are either ongoing or have just been concluded in some polling units in Abia, Bayelsa, Benue, Plateau, Zamfara, and one polling unit in Binchi local government area of Sokoto State, and in Kuje area council of the Federal Capital Territory. We are determined that the vote of every Nigerian is important and must count. We have received preliminary reports and are closely monitoring the situation in rivers, particularly Oni and Opokutoru local government areas. We are similarly awaiting the detailed report from our IMO office, particularly in respect of the Oweri municipal local government area. We are also aware of the incidents in some parts of Lagos, particularly Okota. We are similarly aware of the incidents of intimidation, abduction, hostage taking, and violence unleashed on election officials in some states, notably Akwa Ibom, and the burning down of a vehicle conveying materials used for the election yesterday in Dekina local government area of Kogi State. Some youth corps members serving as ad hoc staff were also attacked in Osun State. While in all these attacks, election staff sustained injuries, we have unfortunately recorded the first fatality in Rivers State. An ad hoc staff, Mrs. Ibisaki Amakri, was hit by a bullet while returning from election duty in Degema. May her soul rest in peace. We condemn these attacks and will forward a comprehensive report to the security agencies for expeditious investigation and prosecution of those involved. We have also received reports of voters who presented genuine PVCs, read by the smart card readers, but were not allowed to vote because their names were not on the register of voters. We have been confronted by such a situation in one of the off-season elections conducted by the Commission. For this reason, we made a clear provision in our draft guidelines and regulations to allow such voters to vote. However, when the draft was discussed with stakeholders, the clause was rejected on the ground that it would encourage voting by identity theft. We had to drop it, and for that reason, it was dropped. For our part, all election duty personnel have sworn an oath of neutrality. We have reports of possible dereliction of duty by some electoral officials in refusing to activate or deploy the smart card readers, the failure to fully account for materials collected for the election, absconding from duty, and a host of other infractions. In Imo State, one of our EOs has already been handed over to the police. We will not tolerate violations against or by our own officials. The duty of upholding the choice made by Nigerians in democratic elections must never be compromised. Our attention has also been drawn to the omission of the logo of the African Action Congress, AAC, from the ballot paper for Lagos East Senatorial District. We have checked our records and confirmed the inadvertent omission. We have contacted the chairman of the party to acknowledge the error. The omission is inadvertent, and it is one out of 23,316 nominations for elections in 1,558 constituencies. We promised Nigerians and the international observers that our situation room will be open to visitation. I am glad to know that yesterday, a number of groups visited the situation room. This will continue within the time allotted to the various groups for such visitation until the end of collation and declaration of the presidential election result. Meanwhile, collation of results from yesterday's elections continue nationwide. Almost all the states have concluded RA collation and are now collecting results at LGA level. Some have commenced state-level collation. We expect the state collation officers for the presidential election scope to start arriving at the National Collation Center later today and early morning tomorrow. Accordingly, the National Collation Center will be officially declared open today at 6 p.m. Collation will commence as soon as the results arrive from the state. On this note, I wish to say that Ekiti State has already concluded the process. The state collection officer for the presidential election is, as we speak, on his way to Abuja with the result of the presidential election for Ekiti. Just before I came for this conference, I was also informed by our Ekiti office that they have concluded the senatorial and House of Representative elections and have since made declarations of winners. So Ekiti is the first state to make declaration, and they are on their way to Abuja with the results of the presidential election. Already, some polling unit results are in the public domain. Let me once again reiterate the position of the law that only the Independent National Electoral Commission can tally figures, announce results, and declare winners in our general election. I urge all stakeholders to strictly adhere to the provisions of the law and be circumspect in this respect. We are doing everything possible to ensure the speedy collation of results and the declaration of winners for the elections conducted yesterday. I thank you very much for your attention. I'm ready to answer a few questions, bearing in mind that we have actually to go back quickly to prepare for the formal declaration of the Collation Center open at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Now, as the Chairman stated, we can take a few questions. So many answers. Let me start from that end of the ball. Number one, please take us of your number. Number one, number two, number three, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it, please. Thank you. Number 1, please. Number 2, get ready.
My name is Sakamako. I report for Nigerian Tribune. Despite the sustained assurances by the high DPs, even last Friday said the police was on top of security situation. We've had an election and we have violence in so many states, ballot boxes being snatched, ballot boxes burnt. How would you appraise the performance of the security agencies?
Number 2, please. Come this way now. Number 2, please just come quickly, please. Number 2, while number 3 gets ready. Where's number 3? Are you number 3? Can you come this way, please?
Mr. Chairman, sir, my name is Shafiu Suleiman. I represent Liberty TV. We were told yesterday that the Commission had scheduled elections in states where there were violence, states like Imo, Lagos, and Anambra. And today, you told us that the violence is not widespread, it's limited to certain areas. I want a clarification. Is the Commission rescheduling the election in the entire state, or just the areas that the violence took place?
Number 3, please.
My name is Okachi, Amplified Radio. On social media, there are reports going around that the FCT elections result has been cancelled because the result went a certain way, and I would like the INEC chairman to confirm if that is true or not.
Number 5, please. 4? Okay, 4.
Shugaban from Cerebral Television. 3 policemen were deployed for polling units plus other security agencies. They were unarmed. But looking at the violence that happened in some polling units across the country, do you think, with benefit of hindsight, that decision to leave them unarmed was ill-advised? Thank you.
Next, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Friday Loka. I work with the newspapers.
there were reports that specifically in Sabongari area of Kano, that voters were not even allowed to come out to vote. I have a sister who has been in Kano since 1979. So I'm talking based on what I was told. Did you hear of this, sir? Well, did you receive any reports? And secondly, sir, the social media has constituted what I would call it a nuisance, you know, especially when it comes to the issue of result announcements. So I wouldn't know if you have anything to say concerning that.
Number 6.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. My name is Sunday Isua. I write for leadership newspapers. Mr. Chairman, you said that one of your staff in Imo State have been handed over to the police. Can we know the offense he committed? Then again, a lot of political parties, civil society organizations set up situation rooms, collecting results, and in which the social media have been bombarded with conflicting results. Have they violated the rule, the electoral act? Have they violated the electoral act? Thank you.
7.
Good afternoon. Alexis Quadram, Reuters.
Can you use the microphone, please?
Yeah. The question is, how many confirmed deaths were there yesterday during the election?
Number 8. Right there.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Imo Ed. I work with Road Steve in Nigeria. I would like you to clarify the case of underage voting as reported by Connected Development in Taraba State.
The last one, number 9. I think it's the lady. No, I didn't call number 10. I think there's no 10. Your last one, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chikonaka Eze from AIT. I would like to ask this question. There is this report making rounds that in Rivers State, a particular minister was reported to have gone into one of the polling units with military and also forcing the INEC official there to manipulate the process. So I want to find out if INEC is aware of this development, and if INEC is aware, what steps has INEC taken to see that the process is not manipulated in that area? Because the woman, the INEC official, the lady is already crying out for her life.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman. Thank you very much. The Honorable Chairman will wish to respond to those 12 questions, really. 9 people.
Okay, thank you very much for all the questions and comments. Tribune, violence in so many states. How will you appraise the performance of the security agencies? I'm unsure that this is the right time for post-mortem, because this is an ongoing process. Yes, election was conducted. Yes, we concluded the first segment of the election, and as I've admitted, issues have arisen, but I'm unsure this is the right time for us to have an appraisal of performance of institutions. Remember, in the next 2 weeks, we are going to conduct elections once again for governorship and state assembly. So it's always prudent in this kind of situation to conclude the process before you do a post-mortem. Then you appraise the situation. But I want to assure you that with every situation, there are lessons to be learned. And once you learn lessons, there are steps that must be taken. So we'll review the situation after the elections, and then we'll see what further adjustments we need to make to the security architecture and to the way we conduct elections in Nigeria. Liberty TV, Imo, Lagos, and Anambra is the commission rescheduling election in entire state or a part of the state. Where violence occurs or where there are violations that made it impossible for us to conduct credible elections in parts of the state, then obviously it will only, our solution will only apply to that part of the state. I remember in our regulations and guidelines, we made it clear that where there is a willful refusal to use the smart card reader, the Commission will appoint another date to go back to those constituencies and conduct elections. And I've enumerated to you the number of states where yesterday we directed the resident electoral commissioners to conduct elections before we can finally conclude on those states. So wherever there are violations, and these violations will require going back to conduct elections, we will do so. But so far there is no state where such violations are wholesale across the entire state to warrant for repeating elections statewide. There is none. Is the FCT area council elections cancelled? Well, as chairman of INEC, I'm hearing this for the first time. So we have cancelled no elections, not in the FCT, not anywhere in the country. Under our laws, once the returning officers make a declaration, then only the judiciary can reverse those declarations. Much of the elections in the area councils in the FCT will be a matter for returning officers appointed by the Commission to make declarations. There's one senatorial seat and 2 federal constituencies in the FCT. We only collate the results for the presidential election, and we look at it in the context of nationwide results. No election result has been cancelled in the Federal Capital Territory or any part of Nigeria for that matter. Unarmed policemen at polling units, will the decision be revisited given what we have seen? I think this is also one of the lessons that we need to learn from the way we conduct elections. Remember, there was a reason why the Commission introduced the idea of having unarmed policemen at polling units. Citizens complained about the presence of armed security personnel at polling units. And so we thought the solution was to have unarmed security personnel. But if that is no longer the solution and if it needs to be revisited, it's one of the lessons that we learn from conducting elections going forward. A reporter from the Punch asked whether that voters were not allowed to vote in Sabangari area of Kano. I'm not aware that any Nigerian citizen with legitimate card was not allowed to vote in any part of this country. I'm not aware of that. I have not received a report from the Red Kano, and I have not received a report from any of the other sources that we have, in addition to our state offices. I have not. That a Nigerian registered to vote in a particular place, went there with his or at PVC, and was denied the right to cast his vote. I'm not aware of any such report in Kano. But if you have information to that effect that we wish to draw attention, we're at the ICC until we make a declaration for the presidential election. And I assure you that we'll take it up immediately. Social media, a result announcement. What do I say? I can only appeal to the social media to please be circumspect in the way we report, particularly the outcome of elections. I've seen some of the reports say one candidate has been declared winner, and then when you read it, they will say in his polling unit. So the position of the Commission is that INEC as a commission does not support censorship. We don't support censorship. And we believe that the best antidote to fake news is more openness and transparency. And that is what we are doing through this medium, to explain and clarify and respond to your questions. But I can only appeal to those who operate at that level to please be extremely circumspect in the kind of information that they put forward. Recall what I told you earlier in one of our news briefings. You know, there was a screaming headline, breaking news, INEC chairman has stepped down. And if you read the release, the INEC chairman stepped down from his car to address. Then Sunday, from the leadership newspaper, said that he wants details of the offense committed by the EO that was handed over to the police in Imo. We'll make this announcement, but not immediately, because the investigation is ongoing, but it's related to some infractions over the conduct of the elections on Saturday. We will spare no one, not even staff of the commission, no matter how highly placed or lowly placed in the hierarchy. Situation room, conflicting results. Have this violated the Electoral Act? Well, again, I will appeal. Citizens have the right to have access to information, but often it's what we make of the information that they have access to, in a way that does not create problems for the system. And so I will continue to appeal to citizens. Information will be readily available, but please always be careful in the way you use the information. Reuters, how many confirmed deaths as a result of the election? Well, my focus of attention is actually more on the staff that we engage for elections. Every day before I go to bed, I have this trepidation. We have a responsibility to the young Nigerians who have engaged to help us conduct elections. And I personally feel touched when anything befalls any of adult staff we engage. You know, when that thing occurred yesterday in Degema and Rivers, I had a flashback to what happened in December 2016 when we lost a core member, the late Okonto Samuel. I will never forget this experience for the rest of my life. We feel for this staff, they are like our children, and you can imagine, having put them through education, and they are now at the last lap serving the nation, and in that context also serving a country to conduct credible elections, and somebody snips life out of them. I really feel it. So my focus is more on the staff that we have engaged. Some have been injured. Some were abducted. We work with the security agencies to secure their release. In fact, yesterday, in the case of one of the local governments in Rivers, I was told that it's not just our INEC ad hoc staff, but also regular staff and the police held hostage. I had to make a quick call to secure the release of all, and shortly after I made the call, I learned that they are all released and hanged. So I focused more on those that we have engaged and deployed for election duty. But our heart also goes out to the families of all Nigerians who lost their loved ones on account of last Saturday's election. So this one, I think, is the lead agency responsible for election security that should give us a toll nationwide of the number of people that might have unfortunately lost their lives. So Reuters, I'm not in a position to give you the figures, cumulative figures of citizens who might have died in the course of the election. Underage voting in Taraba, as reported by the media. Well, we have said it over and over again. The law in Nigeria is very clear on eligibility for voting in our elections. No one can be registered and no one can vote if he or she is below the statutory age of 18 years. And our position is very clear. Any person below the statutory age of 18 who appeared at any polling unit should immediately be arrested. And I'm not sure of what happened truly in Taraba, whether they were underage persons and they were not arrested, but that is the standing instruction. We just cannot have people who are ineligible to vote in our elections voting. Our position is very, very clear on this matter. River State, it says someone vowed, someone moved to the collation center and forced a change of result. I'm not aware that any such thing happened in Rivers, that any result has been tampered with. The procedure for writing of results and the collation, including the collation processes, are very clear, and the forms or instruments used for collation of results and transmission of same are also very clearly defined. And I'm not aware that at any of our collation centers, someone forced his way in any state to change figures. I want on this note to say that one of our major responsibilities is not only to try and conduct elections, but also to protect the integrity of the process. Why should we bother conducting elections when we cannot, as a commission, vouch for the integrity of the outcome of the elections, and protect the sanctity of the ballot. We will continue to do so, and we will continue to do so courageously, believing that the best way to guard our democracy is by protecting the sanctity of the ballot. And this I want to assure you that we will never, never in this respect fail the nation. So work continues. I'm inviting all of you who are accredited at 6 o'clock to please come to the National Collation Center. There will be a formal inauguration, and it is from there that hopefully, in not too distant future, the Commission will make a formal declaration of who the next President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is. I thank you very much on behalf of my name. Thank you.
Remember, this is Vanguard Live. I am Omeza Ajayi in Abuja, precisely at the National Collation Center, where you just watched the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, give an update on the conduct of yesterday's presidential and National Assembly elections. According to the INEC chairman, the commission is generally satisfied with the conduct of the elections, as well as the peaceful conduct or the comportment of Nigerians during the elections. He talked about areas where smart card readers had issues, and according to him, the smart card readers have been reconfigured, and elections are currently ongoing in those areas, or in some places they have even been concluded. He listed such areas to include part of Abia, Bayelsa, Benue, Plateau, Zamfara, Sokoto, and FCT. He said voting is ongoing, and it is very possible that in some of the polling units in those areas, voting has been concluded. Unfortunately, he spoke about the INEC ad hoc staff who was killed in Rivers State, Miss Amakiri, who was on her way from electoral duty in Degema, and before she was attacked and killed. He said the incident has been reported to the police, and the police and other security agencies are on the trail of those who perpetrated the heinous act. On report of the dereliction of duty, as well as a host of other infractions, the INEC chairman said in Imo State, for instance, that an electoral officer has already been handed over to the police for investigation due to several infractions on his part in the conduct of the election. As regards the collation of the results, we are expecting results from the collation officers in the states. The INEC chairman said Ekiti has concluded collation of results, and the collation officer for Ekiti State is right now on his way to Abuja, to the National Collation Center. We expect he'll be here because the main center will be open as from 6 p.m. Ekiti is the first to have concluded collation of presidential results. They have also collated and declared, made returns for the National Assembly elections that took place in the state. Remember, this is Vanguard Live. You can join our other social media platforms where you can make your voices heard. I am Omeza Ajayi in Abuja.